The fact that a lot of African countries have asymmetrical relationships with the U.S. So by that I mean, if you take the case of Eswatini and South Sudan, these are some of the poorest countries, not only on the continent but in the world. So when a superpower, hegemonic power like the U.S. is negotiating or demanding, making these demands in the case of Trump, that these refugees should be taken, countries like South Sudan really have very little leverage, and many times, as we have seen, they will tend to cave in. But I must also add that there is a very underlying and sublime racial component to these deportations. If you'll realize, a lot of these migrants are from the global south, from either black or brown countries. Here we're thinking countries like Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Haiti, and they're also being deported to other global south countries, in this case, Sudan and Eswatini. So there's a really subtle racial components in terms of these deportations. We don't see undocumented migrants, and they are there, obviously at significantly less levels, from the UK in the US, from France, from Germany, and they are not being deported to Sudan or Eswatini. So I have to add, there is also a very subtle and cynical element to this, particularly when we think about how Trump campaigned on this immigration question. There was a fear within conservative ranks, within the Republican Party, that a lot of the immigration to the U.S., particularly since the 60s to the 90s, has been very much from the developing world, and the racial demographics of the U.S. is changing. So in this dumping of undocumented immigrants back to their, to countries of the global south, right, it's almost like an effort to whiten, right, or re-whiten a population in the U.S., which by 2050 will be a majority minority country, meaning there'll be more brown or black people in the U.S. than white people. So we cannot talk about this, conversation without also, also addressing some of the very obvious, racist and racial components that go into some of these immigration policies from Washington.